this chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Every team really
what
I call a
is
shitbird.
up? Jerry Reynolds Tuesday for the last time here on the King's Court live show Monday through Friday. We will still have Jerry in other forms, but looking forward to him joining us at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, top of the hour. Gonna open it up to all you. Same thing I did last week. If you want to give Jerry a quick call, would love to have you come in, thank him, ask him a question. Whatever you want to do, just try to keep it under, like 3-4 minutes. Try not to go like 10-minute segments on that because I want to get everybody in and be respectful of Jerry's time. How's everybody doing today? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. We would appreciate it. Kicking off the first of 2 shows here on the channel. Napes back in the seat tonight, 7 o'clock. Join him. I might join him as well. We'll see. You can talk preseason football with him, man. Napes is not here for the preseason football, but I am. Last night was actually a pretty cool game to watch between the Redskins and the Bengals. Some of the ridiculousness of the ESPN analysts at halftime, that Joe Burrow's being disrespectful to the game. Come on, get out of here. Stop it. It's like one of those things, like you're damned if you do, you are damned if you don't. If you haven't been around for a Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, you're always looking to get something like this out of Jerry. You get something like this out of Jerry, you have done something right.
Ooh, that's a great question.
You could get that. Sometimes you get this.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
Other times, he might come out of left field with something you've never heard.
Guy, he was a big old fat guy. And he was, I was 16 years old. I said, if you don't do a better job at caddying, we're going to get you fired. And I got, no, you didn't. Had a little bit of a temper then.
Hey, champ, you there?
I had, but I told him, I said, you big fat butt, I'll put a 2-iron up your ass if you do.
You big fat butt. He didn't want to say the bad word, but then as soon as the 2-iron came into play, right up there. So anyways, before we formally get started, I have not looked at the chat. Let me get this out of my system before the second Dennis comes in here. He will. Couple of quick things. I'm going to go turbo 1-800-GAMBLING voice mode on you. John Wall announces his retirement from the NBA. Didn't realize that he wasn't already retired. Luka Doncic went down in a FIBA game. Lakers, are they worried about that? That's it. But I'm sure Dennis will have more on that as the show goes along. When it's somebody's birthday here on the King's Court, we go all out. Happy birthday to Mr. Keegan Murray, your defensive anchor on the Kings, the guy that really the decision needs to be made around this year. That's where my eyes are pointed. Not sure about anybody else, but Keegan, we spare no expense. Got Mike Tyson to sing you happy birthday, Keegs. Here you go.
Hey, it's your birthday. Hey, it's your day. It's not Monday, it's not Tuesday, it's not Wednesday, it's not Thursday, it's not Friday, it's not Saturday, it's not Thursday. It's your birthday.
Look at that, Keegs. Who else gets you Mike Tyson to sing happy birthday? Nobody else. in all seriousness, such a good young man. Good golfer, too. Spends a lot of time on the golf course. Love Keegan. Love his attitude. I loved the shift in Keegan last year, the last 25 games. I really liked that a lot. So anyways, a couple things since I don't have any more time to air my grievances.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you
I
people.
realized
Now you're going to hear about it.
when these two things happen, I'm like, I'll roll them over until Monday. And then it's like, wait, there is no Monday here on the show. So I just got to get a couple of quick things in really quick. Humor me, because I need your help on
The
one of
airing
these.
of grievances. I
First
got a lot of
one
problems with
is
you
straight up
people.
and basic.
Now you're going to hear about it.
Coming from a father of a 10-year-old, soon to be an 11-year-old, the amount of little league baseball coverage on right now is out of control. Like, I'm all for the kids being on TV. Every game doesn't need to be on TV. You can't go to a single ESPN channel and find anything but little league baseball right now. Like, I don't even know where they're at in the tournament. Like, is this qualification? What I do know, it's little league baseball from like 9 to 4 o'clock. So good for the kids. I'm happy for you. You're getting your national run when you come up to the plate. They put your favorite players up there, maybe your favorite food, but man, it's too much for me. Second one, really
airing
quick.
Of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Little man is on break right now. So he is on the track system. And we went to breakfast this morning, and it wasn't like anything crazy. It wasn't like high end by any means. It wasn't Bennett's, because they only serve breakfast on the weekends, brunch to 11 to 2 p.m. Go check them out. 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area. But I've got a couple of things that, if it's on the menu, and it's usually on the menu at most places, if you have a solid, and here is the key to this, a fresh, has to be fresh, corned beef hash, I'll consider it. Put some runny eggs over that, toast, bomb. Tabasco. I don't want to start the ketchup and eggs argument. I think we've had that once or twice here on this show before. That or like an Eggs Benedict. So really, an Eggs Benedict, everybody knows what a poached egg is, right? It's not all the way runny, but you're still getting a little bit of run out of that egg. Well, I got the Eggs Benedict, and it was like a hard-boiled egg. And so I'm sitting there debating. I'm like, should I say something? It's only an egg. I'm probably not going to say something. And then it hit me. I'm like, you know what? It is only an egg. What's the big deal? Just bring me another egg. And so finally the server comes over, and the server's like, that's how poached eggs are cooked. They're supposed to be mushy, like that, hard and mushy. And I'm like, really? Interesting. I thought a poached egg was supposed, and then she cuts me out. Well, I can get you another one if you want, but she was pushing back. And I'm like, it's one thing if you're buying top of the line steak, if you're at a really nice restaurant, you're getting the filet, you're getting the porterhouse, and you order it medium rare and it comes out medium well, like, you've got to send that back. An egg? You're going to fight me over an egg? So what do you think I did? I took the yellow out and I only ate the white. That's what I did. Tristan, dude, why are we getting all down? Let's get up for it. Jerry Reynolds here in just about 50 minutes. Tay, what's up? Al Bundy for president. Where's Jerry? Rookie here. What's up, Al Bundy? Al, my parents never allowed me to watch your show when I was a kid. It was that and The Simpsons. So I need to go check out some of your earlier work. What was it? Married with Children or something like that. Jerry joins us at the top of hour 2. So 4 o'clock, Jerry will be here answering your questions, talking Kings, and mixing it up with everybody. Dorian, what's up, my man? Hope you're having a great day as well. Orphan Breakfast House, the best breakfast in Sac. I've never heard of that. There is, I'm not going to talk about Sac because I truly do think Bennett's brunch is some of the best brunch in the area. San Diego. If you ever make it down to San Diego, as the great Ron Burgundy calls it, you got to go to the Broken Yoke. The Broken Yoke is the place down there. They like squeeze the orange juice right in front of you. It is so good. It's right there in PB. If you're looking for quality, or if you're looking for quantity over quality, if you've been to San Diego, there is those vacation rentals in PB that are blue, and they go down each side of the pier in PB. And commonly you'll see some surfers to the left, to the right of it. There's a place right there at the end, not of the pier, but the end of the street, called Konos. And they have breakfast portions that you can't finish, and it's like one of those things that's probably on some of those shows like diners, dive-ins and drives, whatever. But they take pride in the fact that they don't raise their prices. So they've got this board that's just right there when you walk in, and it's one of those things. They're not it's not like Soup Nazi style where it's uptight, but it is like a line where you walk by, place your order, you get your number, and then you take your tail to the pier and you sit on the pier and you eat breakfast. But yeah, really good stuff there too. So Orphan House, that is all new to me. So since we are wrapping up, and I do have content before Jerry comes on, but since we are wrapping up the live version of this show 5 days a week, I'd offered you, I've asked everybody, if you had like something, a moment that you thought was funny, kick it back to me. We'll replay it. Yesterday, I replayed a voicemail from, I think it was Charlie. It was an all-timer. It was when the Kings were just on a really, really bad streak. It was right before Mike Brown got fired. It was like the summary of everything Kings fans were feeling. It was everything we wanted to say, but couldn't put into the words as eloquently as Charlie did. But I was thinking, Patrick, what's up, dude? Off the clock. Hey, champ. What's up, champ?
Hey, champ, you there?
He's here. I was thinking about sound bites, and I know a lot of you enjoy the sound bites around here. This one is newer. It is a newer sound bite to this show, but I think it's an all-timer. It was one of those that had all of us stumped. If you don't know what I'm talking about Baylor's head football coach, Dave Arnada. Check out his reference during, he was at a coaching conference. He's asked a question. This was the reference that he used.
There's a scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where they're talking about throwing midgets, and it's like, hey, this midget, can he, can he roll there? And he go, no, he doesn't roll. You throw him. You know what I mean? And they're made for throwing. And then after a while, they start talking, and they go, well, you know what? I think if you start talking, they may think they know we're making fun of them. The midgets may think we're making fun of them. So then I'm going to start, they may get mad at us. And then the guys go, well, what we need to do is make them think they're one of us. And they go, one of us. And I think that's the thing with coaching, call it recruiting, is it's that way. They talk about acquiring players, getting rid of players, just like that. And the whole thing underneath all that is they make them think they're one of us. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I don't know. Do you have to do that to win? That sucks. Yeah.
You gotta pull the plug out of the PA system. He was drowning. Nobody threw him a lifeboat there. Come on. You can't do that. One of us. Dorian, what if your football coach at Sac State hits you with that recruiting pitch? Sitting down in the living room with you and your parents. We want to make you one of us. Let alone the fact that you are talking about throwing small people. Come on, man. What's going on? Dude, Micro Man does not approve of that message. Dude, I was impressed by Micro Man. That was kind of cool, not going to lie. Kind of inside there, wrestling reference for those that do not know. So anyways, let's get into a few things. We got Jerry coming up here in just about 45 minutes. Be with us for about an hour. That would have been terrible. I know. Like, how does it happen? Even Gil Arenas thinks that's funny. Like, you can't do that. It's nuts. Maybe NIL and transfer portal, it's just gotten that crazy. I mean, you've got to go to that extent to be original. I mean, I'm probably hitting up ChatGPT before I'm talking about throwing people and chanting one of us. Oh my goodness. So we have already wished Keegs a very happy birthday. Stockton makes it official. Excuse me, one slide below. Stockton. Yeah, thank Dennis. Here. How long did it take? I mean, how long did it
Every
really
team
take?
really needs what I call a shitbird.
I did like a 1-800-GAMBLER precursor. Mike Tyson already sang Keegan happy birthday. It's you're trying to find a clever way to put news in the chat. Come on, man. Will Scott, Stockton, officially has announced he is going to be the head coach of the Stockton Kings. Was the associate head coach last year. Grew his way through the system. Started with video coordinator. Love it. That staff last year. I'm very glad that they're keeping Will and elevating him to the head coach position. A lot of, I don't want to say expectations, but what they're doing in Stockton. And if you're looking at it, if you're a Kings fan and you're looking at Stockton as a different entity from the Kings, or you're judging it by Stockton winning championships and the Kings sucking, I would challenge you to look at this completely different. This is your developmental system. It's never been more important than it is now. The Kings were ahead of the curve, realizing, we're not just going to roll the ball out and see who stands out. We're going to put them in the same system, same style that the parent team is running. And not only that, they have identified, along with Monty and the front office, undrafted players, Keon Ellis, the most noticeable of those, and put them into the form that they saw, not to be a star with the Kings, but to be a side dish, to be one of those glue guys, one of those universal pieces every single good, great basketball team needs. So I'm happy that Will is staying down there, and that's what you should look at, because look at Mace, for instance, and I know he has not had as much of an impact here on the main roster, but even Isaac Jones, the time that's been put into Isaac, and the Kings aren't afraid to walk away from guys as well. You see that with the turnover this year on the two-way contract. So Will Scott officially going to be the Stockton coach. I'm not usually SportsCenter guy. I don't watch a lot of ESPN, but because I watched the Monday Night Football game last night, which, holy crap, Mitchell Tinsley, did you see those back-to-back touchdown catches? And now we've got this huge running back controversy in Washington because you've got Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, who's just running all over the field. Now they're like, are we trading B-Rob? Fantasy people that have their drafts here in a couple of weeks, or maybe this week, you're like, what do we do? B-Rob's near the top of the list. Well, anyways, that's why I was watching, but I stuck around because Rich Eisen hosted SportsCenter for the first time in 20 years. Did not watch the whole thing, but I did catch the segment towards the end where he shouted out his partner, Stuart Scott. We all remember Stuart. Here was Rich last night.
It has been a blast being here tonight, but listen, we all know there should be someone else right here in this chair next to me, right there, as he was for my 7 years in the role he referred to as my TV wife. And that's my dear late friend, Stuart Scott, who is indeed looking over my shoulder tonight. I frequently think of Stuart a lot and what he might think of the sports headlines of the day, like, say, Bill Belichick being the head football coach at his beloved school. We used to host SportsCenters after LeBron's high school games. So what would Stewart think of James still playing at age 40 with 40,000 points? And with all these new crossing of sports TV streams, like, say, ESPN buying NFL Network and partnering up with My Daily Show, what would it look like if Stewart sat in with, say, Ernie, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles when Inside the NBA comes here to ESPN this fall? I could go on because I miss Stewart so very much. He should be in that chair with me, with us tonight.
Very, very heartfelt from Rich Eisen. You can hear that through the mic. If you go back and watch the clip, it'll grab you through the screen. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, well, Stuart Scott wasn't a little corny at times. He was. But the fight that he had at the end of his life with cancer and the strength that he exhibited, his speech at the ESPYs, what he had to do to be at the ESPYs because he knew that speech was bigger than him, and hopefully pushing cancer research further with Jimmy V Foundation. So I thought that was a very cool moment from last night. So we're starting to get to that area of the summer where it's going to warm up again. We're starting to get to where teams are getting back into the building. Front offices are coming back together off of vacation. The Kings, is there one more move out there for them? Who knows? We don't know. The restricted four, where all teams seem to be in the same spot, which is not being close to anything with their players. Kuminga, Giddey, there was a new report about that today, that the Bulls may have not even considered moving Giddey. So things are going to start to heat up. And I remind you, Bulls have given no indications that they are amenable to a Josh Giddey sign and trade option. So there you go. But what Giddey's asking for is silly, in my opinion. And I'll show you why in a second. The Athletic came out with their top 40 lead guards. It's kind of surprising. There's a couple of them that surprised the hell out of me. So we'll go over those here in about 10 minutes. But Karl Anthony Towns. What's up, Paul? Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle. That didn't go down until the week before training camp. Media day is going to be around the end of September. Next day will be the kickoff of training camp. You're going to have a week and a half of practices, and then you're into the preseason slate. And the Kings this year, the NBA this year, starting a little bit earlier, actually. I think the Kings' first game last year wasn't until, I want to say, the 26th or the 28th. Now the Kings kick off, I believe, on the 22nd or 24th. So we pulled the schedule up for you right there. They kick off on, because that schedule is way too small for me to read, the 22nd. Yeah, so it is earlier. So not a huge thing, but it means we're getting closer and closer. So is there another move out there for the Kings? Because if there's not, Jerry and I's conversation is going to be very interesting today, and I'm sure many of you will have questions to add on top of those. But to me, it's becoming very, very clear if this is the Kings team that's rolling into training camp, then there is one style that's coming to mind, one and only style that this team's going to be able to play. And Doug Christie, when he took over as interim coach for the Kings last season, he said, I want teams to have to adjust to us. And I loved it. I'm like, that's awesome. We've been asking for stuff like that in the media, fan base. He did it for one night. He was able to get Giddey out of the starting lineup. Or not Giddey, excuse me, Edey out of the starting lineup because he started Keon. So I guess what I'm saying is the path is becoming more clear on how teams are going to have to match up with them. And I don't know that I like it too much. So we will get into that as well. And as I kind of teased, a couple things from the Athletic that came out that caught my eye. Ryan, do I understand correctly that going forward, we won't have the chat line going forward? Going forward. I'm just giving you a hard time, Paul. Yeah, right off the bat, there will not be a chat line, but we are looking. Well, Paul, let me clarify that. Two different things going on. The first, most important thing, which most of you know, if you don't, Grant back in Sacramento, Fox Sports, Sacramento, 104.7, 890 a.m., 3 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday, beginning September 2nd. Grant's back to win. We are taking back the midday. We are taking back the drive home. So make sure that you download the Fox Sports app as well, the KSAC app. If you haven't already, you can download that at or on your Apple store. You can go to the Google Play Store if you're one of those Android people. It's the only time I'll say those people. It's if you're an Androider. Those people got to go to the Google Play. But no, in all seriousness, download the app so you're all connected there as well. So to answer your question, no, there will not be chat on the radio show initially. We are going to have a text line, obviously the call-in lines. We are exploring different ways because we know that that is something that many of you greatly enjoy with these shows. So we are exploring other ways that we might be able to do that. But right off the bat, it's going to be straight up old school radio. Now, as for this station, this channel, nothing changes with Kings game day coverage. Nothing at all. We will be having post-game shows right here, and you will have the chat as you do right now. When Grant does shows on here outside of the radio, you'll have the chat. Same thing when I do shows. I'm going to do one Kings Court live a week. The other 6 will be podcast form that'll be uploaded to Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. But as we've done each and every season, we're going to change up things. We're going to bring new things onto our game day coverage. So that might mean me doing the show from the Golden One Center. That might mean getting live footage as it's streaming from the press conferences. So stuff like that. But we're right off the bat going to, with the radio side of things, just do it old school. But we are exploring ways. I mean, heck, some of you, if you wanted to, you could start a forum for the show if you wanted. If you want to have chat, what's the program that people use for video gaming all the time? It's slipping my head right now. It is slipping my mind. I can't believe it's slipping my mind. Me and my friends use it all the time. Discord. That's where that's kind of where my mind's at. Can we get a Discord going that I could be monitoring that doesn't affect the show? So yeah, if Dennis wants to start a Discord, let him start a Discord. As long as Dennis isn't like, oh, I'm an intern on the Grant Napier show running the Discord. As long as he's not doing that, man. No, not a Twitch. Discord. So yeah, those are the things we're exploring. As for the chat. Now, that doesn't mean that the radio show couldn't or won't evolve into a simulcast. That's not what that means. It's just we are starting out old school, straight up. So, all right. Couple of things that caught my eye with the Athletic as we count down the minutes, about 30 minutes away from Jerry joining us here for our final Jerry Reynolds Tuesday of the summer. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Assistant to the traveling secretary. Good job, Tristan. Good job. George Costanza reference right there. Good job, Tristan. Do we have some George? That was good enough that I have to find some George to justify it. Oh, but you wanted the big salad. I think we got that somewhere. Or did we lose that? Nope, we got that. Here's your George, Tristan.
If it was a regular salad, I wouldn't have said anything. But you had to have the big salad.
He does the big salad. Anyways, all right, ranking the top or the NBA's 40 best lead guards. That caught my eye. I know it's been out for a day or two, just haven't gotten to it. By tiers. And so I'm not going to read the Bounce's rankings, what they qualified things on, but let's just get right to here. Tier 1, the MVPs. Shea, Luka, and Curry. Everybody good there? Do you think Hallie should be in that conversation? I don't think so. Not yet. If he won the championship, maybe. So I'm good there. Tier 2, Battle Royal of top guards. Jalen Brunson, Hallie, Ja Morant, Kyrie Irving. That is a lot of respect for Ja Morant, considering his off-the-court issues and injury problems. You could say the same for Kyrie with injury problems. Cade Cunningham. Expect him to rise. I've heard, or I have talked to a number of people that are connected with the association. I've heard MVP. He's going to be the MVP, but he is a dark horse to win the MVP. Really interesting stuff, especially with the East completely up for grabs outside of Orlando, New York, who knows with Milwaukee. Giannis, you got to save for another day because of Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. I'll talk about you tomorrow. Trae Young and James Harden. So that's your second tier. Battle Royal of the top guards. Let's get to tier 3. Can these guys be elite? De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey, Darius Garland, Jamal Murray, and Damian Lillard. I've got a massive problem between these two categories. The fourth category. Is there more to their game? LaMelo Ball, Derek White, Tyler Hero, Chris Paul, Fred VanVleet. How in the world is Derek White not in tier 3? Derek White has to be in tier 3. Champion, gold medalist. Plays both sides extraordinarily well. Is able to stand out playing with stars. Derek White's got to be in that third category. Do you think Fox belongs in that third category? Anybody else bug you with these categories? Really hard too, because it's on the backside of their careers. Like the fourth category is confusing the heck out of me. Tyler Hero, okay, but Chris Paul, a guaranteed? Is it because he doesn't have a championship? A guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer? Is there more to his game? He's winding his damn career down. Fred VanVleet, you could argue the same. Closer to the end than the beginning, a champion. Is there more to his game? I don't know. But where would you put them other than that? Maybe it's just a bad title. And sorry, if Law Murray wrote this, my bad, Law. I'm not trying to come for you, dude. It's hard to do this stuff in the middle of the summer. It was Law. Oh, no, it's Zach Harper. Thank goodness. Got a reprieve. I didn't want to have to DM Law and be like, dude, I ripped your article apart. So where do y'all stand on that? Like De'Aaron Fox, number 11? Just because he got paid? Got overpaid, I think? I'm happy for him. If somebody's willing to pay you for it, take it. But I don't know. Fred, yes. Chris, no. And Johnny is the resident GM around here on the Kings court. Feel like Derek White's playing small forward. Yeah, it does a little bit. It does. And you might see some of the same with Neat Clifford. Just get ready for it. Garland, you think Garland should be lower or higher, Johnny? Which way are you thinking? Hey, Dennis, my gosh. Kyrie's probably going to miss 90% of the season. Yeah, the Kings play the Mavericks a couple times before Kyrie's slated to be back. So that is a positive for the Kings. Seeing the Thunder 3 times, though. 3 times in less than a month, in the first month of the season. Brutal. I mean, I never want anybody to get hurt, but that would be a good time for the Kings. So yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of, if you had to take a name out of that, everybody would probably say Damian Lillard, right? Probably Damian Lillard. I don't have a massive problem with Fox being in it, but I have a massive problem with Derek White not being in tier 3. Dennis is setting up a Discord as we speak. So anyways, it goes on to save money with good starters. DeJounte Murray, Mike Conley, Kobe White. Love Kobe White. Drew Holiday. Not sure how you're saving money there. Dylan Harper. All right. Emmanuel Quigley. Team needs them to step up quickly. Dennis Schroeder. There he is. There's Dennis. 27. Scoot Henderson, CJ McCollum, Tyus Jones. And then questioning why I committed to 40. Damn, Dennis. Russell Westbrook. Dennis, you there, champ?
Hey, champ, you there?
You there? Kaysen Wallace, Jalen Suggs, Peyton Pritchard. I think that's low for Peyton Pritchard. I think that's disrespectful. Johnny, I'm kind of with you too. And I'm not trying to hate on Foxy, but to me, just is there more to your game? That's exactly where Fox fits. You can't have Derek White above De'Aaron Fox. Can you have Derek White above Damian Lillard? It is a decent list. I think he did a really good job. Davion is on this list. TJ McConnell, Jaden Ivey. So that one caught my eye. That list caught my eye for sure. Here was the other thing that caught my eye. Remember a few weeks ago, it was when it was in Vegas. The NBA had the board of directors meeting. And throughout the last year of these live shows, Monday through Friday, we have discussed at length the evolution of gambling and how it is affecting games, how it's affecting more specifically the players off the court. That's really what my target has been. I've been looking at the stories where players are complaining about getting death threats that are escalating to where people are mentioning their children by names. And then you had an MLB player who had to put his family in hiding because of a credible death threat from gambling. And so my take all along has been, if you're going to take the money, Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, Manfred, if you're going to take the gambling revenue for the advertisements for those companies collecting the bets and taking a portion of the bet and profiting off of them, I think you've got to look at how that revenue specifically from gambling is split. Either a little bit more of that revenue needs to go to the players, or you need to divert some of that revenue to additional protections for these players. And the prop bets have been the problem. It's where many of these guys have gotten caught. Stupid prop bets on two-way players, just really weird stuff that immediately you're like, okay, that's not a normal bet. Any bookmaker knows that. And that's why they've been pointed out. So back to the NBA Board of Governors meeting, Adam Silver was asked about gambling, and he brought it up, and he suggested that, hey, you know, maybe we should have more of a say about what people can bet on. After all, it's our intellectual property. And my counter to that is, sure, if you're not taking the money and they're not partners with you, sure, there's not that conflict of interest. So here is what Adam said. It was no more than 4 weeks ago.
We do not have control over the specific bets that are made on our game. I do think some of the bets are problematic. And we, the league, wish that we had more control legislatively over how our intellectual property is used in these betting companies. We are not a party to those bets. It's not nationalized. You have state by state, creating a legalized framework and then entering into partnerships with betting companies. And that's what sets the terms of engagement.
Dude, I just got to say, I do have to say this. The penalty box is coming back tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, Dennis. I will put you in YouTube timeout, and I have the ability to do that. This is not Reddit. This is not a Discord. This is not outhost the host. And I get you're following the rules. You put per somebody. But as I asked yesterday, Dennis, who cares? Who cares? And I love Scal. Who cares? All right. Now that you've completely driven me off of my gambling thought, now the players union is in favor of limitations on prop bets that sport books can. I can't even tell what that emoji is. I have no idea what that is. Anyways, they're in favor of it. And of course they're in favor of it. They have to be in favor of it. Dennis, you're starting to take some, dude. You're starting to take some, my man. Back to the dark place, back to King's Court Jail. You don't want to go there, Dennis. I will hold you in contempt, my man. It's already happened once accidentally. This time I'll do it on purpose. That's an order.
Order in the court.
Anyways, of course, the league, the PA is going to be in favor of it. Why wouldn't you be in favor of it? Because the counter argument, I can't even do a segment anymore with this guy here. Dennis.
Grant! Dennis, stop
Grant!
for a minute. I didn't say anything bad about you, Dennis.
I love you, Grant.
The odds are not in your favor. Okay, can I get through a thought, Dennis? Can I get through a thought? Dude, enjoy the chat. Partake. I just don't need 2-minute news drops in between each other about players that, although, yes, Scal, love Scal. Great dude. Great dude. He's going for a training camp, man. Dennis, you see those, you know why I'm being hard on you, Dennis? Is you are hardcore to the T when it comes to following this team. And thank you to the 213 of you that have checked in at some point on YouTube and X for today's show. Jerry Reynolds coming up in about 15 minutes. Dennis, you are like to the T, just on your phone all the time, looking for the latest news about this team because you love them so much. And I get that. But then there's like this line, right? Like you're starting to lose respect when you're not vetting like what's important and what's not. Like, I'm not sure if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, Dennis, but it's starting to come off more like the girl with the crazy eyes. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to get that. No, I didn't. Never came across my desk. It's not, it wouldn't be show material. Hey, everybody, Scal signed a contract in Washington. If we did that for every ex-King, we wouldn't have a show. All right, you know, I'm just going to pull the plug on this gambling thing. The only thought I was going to get out, and the reminder that I was going to get out is a lot of the other side, the counter argument to the argument that I have made is, well, if they don't want to deal with it, get off social media. Well, unfortunately, for a lot of the guys, they have to be on social media. Now, they can have layers in between them and the actual posts, and stuff can be vetted so they don't have to see everything. But if you're one of those layers and you're seeing something like that, you're going to have to tell the player about it. They have to be on social because of some of their sponsorships. They're tweeting stuff out about Gatorade. They're tweeting stuff out about Jordan or whatever they're signed with. So it's a double-edged sword, but it's getting worse and worse. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Do you think the NBA can control what you can gamble on, but also take the money from the gambling sites who are advertising, especially when announcers during games are giving you live lines? Arenas in the NBA, certain ones you can go to. I think it's a DraftKings room in Phoenix. They've got a place in the arena where you can place live bets. So anyways, those were the two things that really crossed, kind of caught my eye. The guard rankings, for sure. Sorry if you listen on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. That was 10 seconds of silence while I tried to make a decision about putting somebody on timeout. I don't think I need to say who it was. Can we drop that during Jerry Reynolds, though, Dennis? Because what I would really like to see is a clean line of questions, if you have them for Jerry, which, by the way, if you would like to call in and be a part of the segment with Jerry, you can. It's the last time he will be here with us on the King's Court this summer. Let's make sure we give him a big thank you. He does not need to come spend an hour with anybody at this point in his career. But he enjoys coming on here. And somehow, Tristan, holy crap, man. Somehow Jerry Reynolds is now a fan of Tristan. It goes
Tristan,
from this.
pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan. So
Come on.
So Tristan takes his medicine one time, right? And then
It wouldn't be any of those, Tristan. I mean, I was just hopeful you would ask me a question. That's one of the highlights of the week for me.
now you're a highlight of Jerry's week, Tristan. I mean, holy crap. Like the NBA and their players aren't making enough dough. Okay, but like there's a line there, Paul. I don't know what that is. Like, that's a great question. Not the statement, but the question of the players get, I think, 50 or 51% of the league revenue. But I wonder if the players in the Players Association has say as to sources of revenue. If they have a way to say, you know what, that money's not as important to us because of the BS that we have to deal with. Like, I wonder if I'm going to look into that. You made me think there, Paul. I love when y'all do that. I love when you make me think like that. Because I wonder if there is recourse. Like, what if the players are like, we're not cool with the league being in bed? It wasn't the players making money like Michael Porter Jr. on sports betting. That's about it. If you can get all your homies rich by telling them to bet 10K on my under. Well, Brian Scalabrine brought up a decent point. He's like, the unders are the problem. Don't offer the unders, only offer the overs. Which in the last two cases has been true. But it's only getting bigger. That's the thing. Like, this is where the gambling landscape right now. And by the way, I have no problem with legal gambling, none whatsoever. But when it comes to, we see like on college football weekend, right? If a kicker misses a college football kicker, and now it's a little bit different. But let's rewind it like 5 years before they were getting NIL and being paid from universities. When a kicker would miss a field goal for a win, they would have to go into hiding. It'd become a national story about the vileness and the hate that they were getting on social media. That's like once, twice a season, and they can get off social media at that point. They don't need to be on it. In fact, the schools probably would rather have them not on it. But now that they're being paid, it's like that times 100. Like, if you want to really piss off an NBA player or a pro athlete, either interrupt them while they are actually eating their dinner, if you see them in a restaurant, or go up to them and be like, dude, what the hell? Like, if you would have caught that ball, I would have made $200. Those are like reasons to go for them. They could care less. They really could. Paul, you would think that the agents have jumped on that. Well, they are. That's the thing. I think the agents and the PA are pushing back. Grant and I have kind of tried to dissect this conversation. And the last time we had it, he didn't realize where I was coming from until the latter part of it. Because the NBA, if a player was to get killed, and this is inevitable, I'm sorry, we're getting to that point. When you see the CEO healthcare of United, or the CEO of United Healthcare get killed, you see the guy that drives from Vegas and goes up to the league office but takes a wrong turn and shoots people. It doesn't seem, and I hate to put it out in the ether, far-fetched that somebody that lost a really big bet could do something really stupid. It doesn't. So, don't piss DeMar off when he's... Dude, that's just a general rule. That is have any of you had a bad experience in person with an athlete? I'm curious. Have you? Grant's talked about one that he saw. He wasn't a part of it, but he talked about the Reggie Jackson one. I'm trying to think if I've had a bad experience. I don't think I have. Has anybody had a bad experience? You got to follow the rules. There's an etiquette to it, y'all. There's an etiquette. Etiquette. Speaking of etiquette, speaking of the finer things in life, Bennett's prime cuts of seafood and steak without the hefty bill that comes along with food like that. Trust me. Go check them out. 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area. The West Side Grill out in Rockland, Roseville, and then also Howe and Fair Oaks. You will find Grant and I there all next week. In fact, Grant, a lot of times, will pull double days at Bennett's, lunch and dinner. So go check it out. Cool thing about Bennett's that I love about Bennett's is the different specials that they run every single day of the week, whether it's happy hour, that is Monday through Friday, every day of the week. Why did I say then Monday through Friday? I was thinking about prime rib. Prime rib, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, brunch on the weekend, which talked about earlier in the show, 11 to 2 at all 3 locations. I'll tell you, that brunch will help you out big time the first couple weeks of football season, because it's hard to kind of bury into the couch without the other half saying, no, come on, we're not just going to watch football. Go to Bennett's, get 2 entrees, a bottle of champagne. That'll hold her off for a game. You're good. $45, 99 cents. Can't go wrong. But seriously, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out all of their menus, including their new Taste of Summer menu. You can make reservations right there on the website. You can put in to-go orders. If you want to order tonight, put it in right now. Pick it up after the show. It'll be ready for you. Big thanks to Brian, Margot, the entire team out there at Bennett's for being a huge blessing to this channel and sponsor of the King's Court. And if you don't like that, let them know that you heard about them here on the show when you go in, and let us know when you go in as well. We like to hear your stories and pass them along. Cousins. Okay. You know what? I did have a bad experience, but it was completely my fault. 100% my fault. I'll tell you in a second. Every other King was nice. Times are different today. I remember the flack that the New York Giants kicker took when he missed. I even remember it was an SEC kicker just a couple of years ago. It was awful. Met had a world peace at the UCLA track one day. What a nice guy. Huge hands. Yep. He joked about racing me up the stairs. Haha. There you go. Bobby Jackson, Rudy Gay, Brad Miller, Scott Pollard, Sungila, and Buddy Hield. I used to work out with Sungila. He is a great guy. All nice, but Cousins was a jerk. Really? All right. So a lot of those saying about Cousins. All right. Well, one person that is not a jerk, can promise you that. One person that is beloved here in the King's Court and all over this great city of ours. That's Jerry Reynolds. And this is the last and final time. We are so lucky to have him this summer. It is time for Jerry Reynolds Tuesday for the last time. I'm getting melancholy. Hit the music.
It's Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, let the good times roll. King's legend in the house, he's got the game on the scroll. With endless coaching wisdom and stories to share. When he talks shit, birds, and Kings basketball, you better be there. Jerry Reynolds Tuesday's the place to be. Basketball magic, it's a sight to see. Chicken and dumplings on his plate. With a side of laughter, it's a perfect fate.
There's the man. There's the recliner. Nice and comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. Yeah, and I've really enjoyed it with you, Rhino, and the fans, and so. But I know good things are coming, so that's the important thing. Obviously, I think with you and Grant, it's just can't wait for you guys to get started.
Yeah, we are so excited to kick things off over at KSAC Fox Sports, Sacramento 104.7, 98.0. Really looking forward to it. But looking forward to this conversation. Before you came on, we were talking about bad experiences with athletes. Did you ever have a bad experience with an athlete growing up or while you were in the business?
Yeah, several. I mean, considering all the years, not many, but a couple in college, different places, and then probably one I would say that was not good in the NBA, and so about three overall in the coaching area. Then from a broadcast standpoint, maybe another one or two.
Okay. Jerry, is there for the fans? I was trying to explain this. I'm like, there's certain things that you would not want to approach them while they're doing. And there's certain things that are probably a little bit more okay. Like over your years of being around the players, was there times where you saw fans that should approach or shouldn't approach, or what would your advice be to somebody if they see a king out in public?
Well, I think for the most part, I think fans are pretty respectful, and I think that's always just the key, to be respectful. And certainly, if a player's out eating with his family, or I think you should be considerate. Sometimes you really don't want to take away their time, and they would consider that often to be a little bit rude. It's one thing to say, hi, how you doing? But expect pictures and a bunch of autographs and things at that time is probably not the best.
Yeah, exactly right. Mid-bite, Grant shared a story about how they were singing Star Happy Birthday, and the candles were lit, and a caller came up and wanted to talk.
Well, or like wanting an autograph when you're taking a leak, things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Probably a bit much. You can wait a little bit.
Oh, my goodness. So let's transition. We're going to talk Kings in a second. How much did you love Scotty Scheffler's performance at the BMW this weekend?
Oh, tremendous. He's the Tiger of today. Don't know if he can continue on that same pace, but really the last couple of years, that's certainly a Tiger type pace. And, he's so good that, all the other great players, the greatest other players, they all say the same thing. He's number one. He's the best. When Rory McIlroy says, hey, right now, he's the guy, and there's no question about him being the best player in the world. And when you get praise from maybe, one of the all-time greats and still great like that, it means a lot, I think.
No doubt about it. Your favorite person here on the show, one of your favorites, I should say, Tristan, has a question for you, Jerry. After all these years, what struck fear in the opponent's eyes more? Birds trash talk, arrowheads, what? Arrowheads roar. It's all okay. Arrowheads roar. There we go. Or Arco's thunder. Your voice struck fear. It brought us joy. Thanks for Tuesdays, Jerry.
Well, thank you, Tristan. That's a pretty good question there. I will say I think Arco Thunder, I really, really believe. I mean, and it really had an impact, I think, on visiting teams, on the home team. I mean, the fan base in Sacramento was the best. I always say that. I mean, it didn't always work to your advantage, but most players were impacted on the visiting team, sadly, I've always said the greats, the Jordans and LeBrons and Gilgeous Alexander, Birds, Magics, go on down through the years. I know for a fact that it really motivated them even more. They look forward to coming in and quieting Arco Thunder, and whether it's Kobe or Shaq or whoever. And I think that's one consistent thing with top players. They love going on the road and really putting the crowd quiet. And so sometimes it worked for you, but I mean the overall atmosphere, especially at Old Arco, I still say couldn't be matched, really.
Yeah. Jerry, I think it was 2003. I might have the year wrong, but the Kings were up 3-1 in the series. It was game 5. It was at Arco, and the Mavs got out to a blistering start. And you just knew back in those days, or I felt like the opponent knew a run was coming. It's not if, it's when the run was coming. It did. The Kings ended up winning the game and closing out the series.
Yeah, it's interesting too because at that time, team runs weren't as big and as predictable. In today's game with the dominance of 3-point shooting and a faster pace, right now that being ahead 15 points in the first quarter really doesn't mean anything.
Right.
That a team certainly isn't great, but really in the early 2000s, it was still a case where that really was significant. And you're right, that game was a case where, I think everybody, including the Mavs, knew that okay, Kings they're gonna chip away and fight back, get back in this game, and find a way to win it, which of course happened.
Yeah, Mike Bibby went nuts in the second quarter, and then the Kings just kept chipping, and Dirk had a shot to win it, and it was good defense, and the place exploded.
Yeah, Dirk, he never could make the big shot. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Tay, what's up? You're on with Jerry.
Hello, gentlemen. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Ryan. Just wanted to give a quick call to say I am, cherishing every moment this week, but I'm so excited for September 2nd, baby. How about you guys?
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Super fired up about September 2nd, and super fired up about what we're still going to be doing here, Jer, on this channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's, hey, life brings you a lot of joy in different ways, and hey, this is one of them.
Yep, absolutely. I just wanted to call in, make it quick for everyone else. So, thank you, Jerry and Ryan, for all the great content you have made my life more fruitful as a Kings fan and as a basketball fan. So, thank you for all you're doing. I think you are, really bringing this community together, even behind the camera. So, really appreciate you guys, and just wanted to give a quick shout out. Go Kings!
Go Kings. Appreciate that today.
That's great.
It's a pretty cool call. Pretty cool call.
Very, very positive.
Paul, Jerry, some time ago, you commented on Page's son when he got into college. Any thoughts on him now?
Well, I think, I mean, obviously he's a very good college player, and I think it's now his third college in 3 years. So he's bounced around a little bit, and hopefully, this year in the University of Illinois, he'll find, kind of get his game together to the peak of his ability. I don't think he's done that yet. I think I know his shooting stroke, he doesn't have the percentages that he really should, and so how much is him and how much is the coaching or the team, all that we don't know. But this will be a real good kind of test year to see if he's a professional draftable prospect. He really hasn't quite done that yet, but it sure looks like to me he should be. I mean, so this is a huge third year, a huge year.
Jerry, outside of well, I guess let's use these last two drafts. Outside of these last two drafts, I guess you knew who the talent was going to be at the top. This year, Cooper Flag. Last year, it was kind of mixed. Is it going to be Sarr? Is it going to be whoever else? But then when you got past those 3, 4, 5 players, the draft became more subjective to me, to where teams are looking at guys that they feel better about developing, that they feel like would fit better in their system, as opposed to taking the best player, with the transfer rules being what they are in college. And like you said, Peja, son, playing for a third team in 3 years. How's that going to change the draft process for teams looking at guys?
Yeah, I think it makes it tougher. I mean, in years past, you'd say, well, of course, obviously, high school guys, all Americans, you kind of knew in that 1 year, you'd follow them for 1 year. But anybody else, let's say they go to North Carolina or Duke, well, you'd follow them at North Carolina or Duke. And the second year, third year, by the third year, you followed them and you knew all about them. They'd been under the same circumstances with many of the same teammates. And so that's so very different now. And I think it makes it tougher. I mean, I do think you have a few more older players coming into the draft. In other words, guys staying in college a little longer than they would have in the past, and why not? They can financially make about as much money today by staying in and trying to improve their draft status. So for a guy who thinks, well, if I come out, I'll be a second round pick. Well, in many cases, stay in school, play another year, and maybe you got a chance to be a first round pick, and it makes up the difference. So in the long run, I think, you're getting guys a little more prepared, I think, because of it. But still, I think it's probably a little harder to identify. I mean, I think that this year's draft, they did a great job, because it looks like both of those guys are NBA ready. Maybe Nick Clifford more than but anyway, it just
the Max,
Max. I think he might be a year away. I hope not, but I think it's not going to be long before he's ready.
No, I think we've said it before. You get him on the Keegan Murray training schedule, put a little bit more meat on his bones, and I think you're going to have something there. Because the defensive end of the floor seems to be, I'd say for both players, Jerry, that's the big question mark. The defense.
Yeah, I think always. I mean, really, because you've got to find a position you can guard. And I think with Nick Clifford, it looks like he's a little better prepared than Renault, but mostly because of body type, and he's more or less got a position size wise. And but yeah, I think just a matter of muscle, really. Because I think he can score enough, but I think the rebounding and defense will be, probably the part that's going to be a little adjustment for him, because there's some at his position, there's some pretty big, strong, mean buckaroos out there. And he'll have to adjust, and which I think he will. But there's an adjustment process.
When you have rookies like that, do you tell them straight up the game's going to be called differently for you?
Oh yeah, and that you're not probably going to get some. And it's too bad, but I think there is a hierarchy. Officials know the main guys and the veterans that's been around, and on questionable calls, I think they often get the break, and the rookies don't. I think it happens in about every sport, to be honest. If there is any justice, if you're really good, it'll eventually turn your way. And that same way with teams. I always say, back when the Kings were really good in the early 2000s, I thought the Kings, for the most part, with the exception of the Lakers, got a lot of calls. And really, you'd see it on a nightly basis. The refs knew, hey, that's Weber and Peja and Lottie, those guys, they're really good, and you'd get a break against the Grizzlies or the teams like that, and so but that's always been that way. I mean, did Jordan and the Bulls or Curry and the Warriors, do they get breaks when they're at the top? Of course they do.
See, and that's why I feel like replay just screws up the unwritten things that are passed along, whether it's through the players or the officials about the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I mean, it's and I think too, it's probably a little different in today's game because so many new officials and they're finding their way, and the players, even the veteran players, maybe don't know the officials very well. And so in years past, you had, basically the league didn't hire very many new guys. I mean, they'd bring them in, and so, you really always seem to have more veteran guys that everybody knew. And so, and certainly with, more females in the pool, that makes it a little different as well.
Very good point by Jerry. We'll talk about the Kings here in just a little bit. But first, Peter, Mr. Reynolds, we've been discussing the impact of sports gambling on the game. What are your thoughts? Is it possible to engineer a society of people that don't take things to a stupid level?
Well, it's probably possible, but we haven't seen it yet. I don't expect I will, but no, I think, and certainly with gambling, anytime gambling's involved, and I'm not a big fan of it. I think the league is kind of went too far one way. Now they're going too far the other. I remember all the time where you would have to go through all kinds of conference calls and seminars about gambling, what we could say to people, or in other words, avoid any context of being associated with gambling on games and things, which of course I never did. But now, I mean, they almost encourage you to gamble, and in arenas and on his guy misses 2 shots in a row, what's the percentage? Are you going to bet on him making the next one? That sort of thing. It creates a lot of problems. Yeah, I'm always convinced that where there's money involved, people are weak, and people that whether it's players or officials. And I've always said I'm convinced that the real danger, the biggest danger in my mind in basketball, is probably at the highest levels of college, of where the officials aren't full-time officials. They may be teachers or plumbers or just regular people making a living, and they make, they get a nice stipend for coaching, but it's always scared me that, hey, we'll throw you $20,000 if you keep the points, keep the spread below 5. You're not going to keep North Carolina from beating Virginia, but you got to keep it in this range. And I know just my own experience officiating, whether it's, I did a little high school officiating, and of course officiating scrimmages, and you can screw teams sometimes and they not even know it.
You said you used to screw your team on purpose.
Yeah, I do it on purpose. I always screw or not always, but sometimes screw the starting 5 because I wanted the second unit to beat them or scare them, and to help motivate them coming up. And like I say, it's fairly easy to do. To call a few 3-second calls, illegal screen away from the ball,
carrying,
call a carry here or there, and all of a sudden, you're taking possessions away, and or like I say, now and then, maybe a guy that they score a basket, you're calling this a foul away from the ball. You're taking the basket off the board, and giving the ball back to the other team. So, yeah. So just as unscrupulous as I was, at least it wasn't hurting anybody, because I was really doing it to try to improve my team in practice, motivationally. But it always scared me. It's like, boy, if I can do it, and guys not really know it to speak of.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's maybe it's that double-edged sword. I guess for me, it's the cost of entry. Before, the cost of entry to gamble, unless you were in a state where it was legal, is you had to go through a bookie, right? You don't want to get associated with a bookie. Like, what if you make a bad decision and they get their hooks into you and they're coming after your family? Well, now the cost to entry is just debit card. You don't have to worry about a bookie. And so
Yeah, that's a great point, because I mean, it's you and whatever site you're on or casino you're in. I mean, it is basically in effect more sporting, let's say, and so yeah, it's not like you're dealing with John Gotti's henchmen or something.
yeah. Don't want them coming after me.
No,
It's a nasty crew.
no. I always remember when I was a coach in college at Rockhurst University in Kansas City, a Jesuit school, and one of our fans was at that time was supposedly the big mafia guy in town in Kansas City. Got him, I think, Cork Sevilla or something. Charlie. Anyway, I knew who he was, but it's like he never, it wasn't. He had a daughter, went to school there, so it was all okay. But I kind of knew, I said, if he ever, I always told my wife, I said, if he came around and said, I'd like to see so and so play more, I don't know what I'd have done. I might.
And that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I say, well, yeah, okay.
We'll see what we can do.
Mr. Sevilla, I'll take it under advisement.
Take it under advisement. Well, if you ever end up at a table of wise guys, first off is they're going to make you drink a glass of wine, but you got to pay attention to how they pour the wine. So if they're pouring the wine one direction for everybody else, but they pour yours in the opposite direction, then something's up. They're onto you.
Well, well, that's good to know. Now, it's also true. If I was at a table drinking wine with some wise guys, I'd know something's up. I'd know that my day is in danger.
I don't even think Mrs. Reynolds could help you out at that table.
No. She'd just probably give me a little kiss. Well, I don't know what you did, but this isn't going to end well for you.
So good. Let's see. Appreciate it, Paul. I 99% no would be the answer. But Jerry, do you know what Discord is?
Discord?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I don't. What?
All right. I didn't think so. You're not missing anything. It's an alternate means of communication where people can get together kind of like in a forum like this and have a chat and talk or whatever. But yeah, that's Discord.
Well, if that is, that's pretty good, I'd say.
There you go.
Any way to have a communication and solve problems, create problems, whatever, it's all good.
Indeed. So we might as well get a few minutes of Kings talk in. When Doug Christie was hired, Jerry, or not hired, I should say, when he came on as the interim coach, he said, I want to make teams adjust to us. And that happened for a night. But if that's still going to be part of what Doug wants to do, and assuming this is the roster we have coming into training camp and nothing else changes, is running the only type of style and going small that this Kings team can specialize at?
Well, right now, I don't see how they could go big. I mean, it'd be pretty difficult the size limitations. That's kind of one of their weaknesses. Now, how they could impact, put the pressure on the team and dictate things. I still think in general, you get to do that more through defense than you do offense. Although I always say the Beam team of a couple of years ago was one of the first teams that I really thought really did impact and put the pressure on the opposing team just with their style of play on offense. Now, certainly the Warriors have done it in the past, but in general, Yeah, I think that's how you really impact it. And I think we saw that with especially with Oklahoma City last year. I think as good as they were on offense, they were probably even more impactful on defense.
Yeah, they absolutely were. And as we pointed out, you pointed out the two deepest teams in the NBA
Yeah,
Finals. And I look at the Kings roster. You're deep at the guard position, but Jerry, that forward and center line is worrisome.
yeah, really just no depth there. And I mean, if anything would have happened as a bonus, I mean, it would just be. I mean, I don't want to think about it, but
Yeah.
you just don't have depth at the power positions or wings for that matter. So it's all kind of top heavy with guards and yeah, it makes it yeah right now. If they were to start the season with this exact roster, I've said before, I think it'd be very concerning because I think that you're going to have some issues at the guard line because some pretty good players won't get to play, and
Yeah.
that creates a problem. I mean, I think the roster has a lot of talent, but it's not balanced. I mean, this is through the years there have been some teams that didn't win and didn't have a, but they for the most part it was because they didn't have enough players of any kind,
Yeah.
and had no depth. And this team has a lot of depth, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it's the wrong depth. You've got
It's the
way too many two guards in a sense.
Completely with you. And Keon Ellis, to me, if you're talking about being able to play a little bit of defense, that's the guy you need on the court with Keegan Murray as well because of the switchability. How do you see at least rotations working out? Do you see Doug Christie going outside of any starting lineup other than Domas, Keegan, DeMar, Zach, and Schroeder?
I don't, and I mean, there's so much pressure to play certain guys because of contractual obligations, and but I think that's where it'll start. I hope if it doesn't work or if it's not really effective, at least kind of have a quick trigger. Use your bench more. Get in. Make sure that Ellis and certain guys are getting opportunities to play more. Maybe Monk and whoever's on the bench, because I do think that would be a strength. You've got a lot of players, but like I say, it's just kind of mismatched. I was thinking that too. To your point about like Ellis, I really think Ellis and Keegan are probably the two guys that could probably play. They would find a way to get minutes on the Pacers or even
Yes.
Oklahoma City because of the fact they're two-way players. Now they wouldn't start, but I think they more than quite honestly DeRozan or Levine guys, Monk, who are considered more talented. But I think the fact they can defend positions and can fit in, certainly we've seen that they get, and both would get criticized sometimes fairly unfairly for blending into a fault, where they don't need the ball to compete hard, or they don't need scoring opportunities to play, and that makes for very valuable reserves.
You nailed it. They're universal pieces. They
Yeah.
go they could fit anywhere, anytime, and probably any team would take them. And that brings me to Keegan. If we come away from this season still unsure about what Keegan Murray is that what could be the biggest mistake of the Kings year?
Could be. I really think it's so important to. I mean, and in fairness to Keegan, he's developed each year. I mean, each year he's become a better player. He may not have satisfied us all because of maybe we wanted more offense from him, or this or that, or be more aggressive offensively. But the guy each year, like say last year, I mean, his defensive ability, where he was even, he guarded guys like Curry and make it tough. At periods. I mean, it's just remarkable. His rebounding has gotten better. His defense has gotten better. he's gotten better creating shots for himself, even though he's not taking as many as we'd like, I guess is what I'd say. So, yeah, I think it's more on the team, or as much on the team as it is on Keegan, utilizing him correctly, and putting him in situations and allowing him to expand his game offensively, because I think he blended in, because, well, Levine kind of needs the ball, DeRozan needs the ball, Monk needs the ball, and of course, everybody can't have the ball.
Right. Our guy Rich down in San Diego, who just finished kicking cancer's ass, says, I guess I'll have to get some tacos on Tuesday in honor of missing Jerry. You're the man, dude.
Well, I hope you get some really good tacos on Tuesday, and I wish you well. Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, probably good tacos are probably bring you more joy than I would. So,
please.
I think you got a good plan there.
Please. Where's your go-to? Where's your go-to for tacos? If you and Mr. Reynolds are craving.
Probably Jim Boy's, I guess.
Okay.
Just because I'd say as much it's handy where we live, and that's sadly that's kind of how we make our decisions so often. What's what's closer, it's kind of like fried chicken. My Popeyes is my favorite, and fortunately it's fairly close. So
I'm with you. Since we got more Popeyes around here, I just can't do KFC. You got to go Popeyes.
No, you got to go Popeyes. That's 100%. Almost it's almost sad. I think KFC's kind of lost a little step.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I don't know what whether it's what the recipe changes or whatever, but yes, certainly it doesn't seem to be the KFC of my childhood or young adulthood.
You know what it is to me? You just made the point right there. The stuff that was the go-to that you remember, the fried chicken, the sides, right?
Yeah.
That stuff is now like the more expensive stuff. And now you can get the cheaper, like mashed potato bowls with like all this stuff on it. That's just, why do I want to eat a bowl of mashed potatoes and mix? Like, it's just not good.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's like there's something with a certain, and of course that's why certain companies and franchises go out of business. They start making bad business decisions, and eventually, as consumers, we have a choice.
Yep. Very true. Very true. True or false? DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, or Dennis Schroeder will be one of those three will be unhappy about their playing time if the Kings are having success.
I would say there's a good chance it's true. Yeah, I think it's almost. I think from a coaching standpoint, you can almost see the issues coming. And I think with Coach Christie, and he's a player's coach, but my guess is he's going to have to make some tough decisions. And a guy who's used to starting or used to playing 35 minutes a game or 36 is going to have to adjust to a lesser role.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to have to be a little come to Jesus talk with at least a couple of players and adjustments for it to work, I think.
Yeah, and you hit this earlier, Zach. You need him on the floor because, one, you hope he plays well, which keeps the Kings on the right side of things. But two, you need him to be attractive possibly to other teams and get off the contract if you can. 'Cause to me, that accelerates the Kings mixing things up. DeMar, he was sold a completely different bill of goods about coming to Sacramento. That would be a painful discussion to say, hey, DeMar, we're going to bring you off the bench.
Yeah, it's tough. Because he came and he's I think a good case to be made as a Hall of Fame player, but it's also true. There's a point where you can't be the main go-to guy just because. And I don't care who you are. There's a point where Michael Jordan in Washington wasn't Michael Jordan anymore.
Right.
He was still an all-star, but he wasn't unguardable and all that. And so we've seen it with Russell Westbrook and great players that have become role players, and he certainly hadn't always been happy about it. But yeah, to the point, yeah, it would be a conversation that would probably not go well. But I've said it, I've said this since early last year. I just feel like the team really, the sooner you get him to come off the bench as a go-to guy scorer kind of thing, which he can still do. I mean, the guy, I thought, he did what he's always done, so I blaming DeMar for being the kind of scorer he was and all that is really unfair, because that's
right. That's who he is.
That's who he is. He's been that way for 10 or 12 years before he came to the Kings, and is relatively efficient at it. But I just think for this team, and you could just almost see he'd been a terrific off the bench guy, I think, and because he could really create offense when you're struggling. He would, I think, still has several good years like that if that's what they choose to do.
I think you could put the game on a roller coaster to a degree if things go the right way, because I think you'll have a better defense, because whether you have Keon out there or whatever you decide to do, I think that puts you a little bit more in transition, which the Kings seem to play pretty well at. And then when you slow things down, you've got DeMar on that side scoring. So the game's kind of going like this. And if your opponent playing on the road, you want a game that's got an equal flow. You don't want to be doing that, but that would be a perfect stop and go for the Kings.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the thing. Is, of course, I'm a real Keon fan, and I just think with when you've got a lot of kind of one-on-one go-to kind of scorers, you need a guy like Keon who will take open shots and move the ball.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like I always say, Oklahoma City. Lou Dort was terrific for him, but basically he guarded the crap out of people and took open threes.
Exactly.
That's what he did. And it allowed Williams and SGA to be ball dominant. And because they needed that. They needed those two guys to hunt for shots and force things. But, for Holmgren and Lou Dort and Hartenstein, well, their role was, basically take shots that are there and stay out of the way of SGA and Jalen Williams.
You literally just explained why Keegan Murray broke the rookie record for three-pointers.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the formula was.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And somewhere along the line, we need to get back to that formula and then let him expand. He's such, off that three-point game.
And you almost, to your point about DeMar and tough decisions, you almost cannot do that if DeMar and him are in the starting lineup together. You can't.
No, it's tough, and I thought, we as fans, we all saw that. We talked about it, especially when Monk was starting, had to, not criticizing him, because he is who he is too. He's a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Levine, who's the scorer. That's his game. That's why he's got a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, the guy who probably needs the ball the most is Sabonis, and he's getting it less. Now he's not getting it to score. He's getting it to help guys score. Right. But then you've got guys who are really trying to play off the dribble all the time, and everything. Well, you just get a lot of glommed up offense is what you get.
Yeah, and you know what'll make this a little bit murkier? I mean, it's a good problem to have, but if Keon comes into training camp and he shows that he has a much better handle this year, that's going to change things, Jerry, for Doug.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, that's what the team, you're exactly right. That's what the team needs. He needs to be able to establish that he really could run the point to some efficiency. Now that hasn't been, he hadn't demonstrated that, that's not been his game, but that would really help this team for sure.
Yep. Patrick Coach Jerry, I was just watching Yahoo Sports. Already being, let me go back up since we got another comment. Already being down on Coach Brown for the Knicks. Do you feel Coach Brown will do, or how do you feel he'll do this season? How can he improve the Knicks?
Well, I think he's got a terrifically tough job. I mean, Mike Brown's a good coach. He's proven that over the years, his winning percentage, different places. I mean, having said all that, I was totally against them firing Coach Thibodeau. I don't know what they expected. I thought Coach Tibbs got everything out of that roster. And so the problem Coach Brown's got is they hired him to go to the NBA Finals and with the same roster. And can he do it? It's possible. I mean, I'll say this: he's probably got a better route now than Tibbs did because Boston's not the same. So there's just less competition. So he's got a little better chance. And I think he'll do a fine job. I'm just when you have to get to the NBA Finals in order to, or as I think the owner said, you know, the Knicks are about championships, and I was thinking, well, no, really, you're not. You won in 70 and 73. You know, so you can to say you're about. I mean, we all want championship, but no, you're not talking about the Lakers and Celtics here. You're talking about the Knicks. They haven't done squat overall championship wise. They won a couple in 50 years ago. So yeah, it's. I wish Coach Brown the best, and I think he'll do a good job. I just don't know if he can do if it's all about winning championships for the Knicks. I don't like their chances.
I'm very appreciative towards Coach Brown for taking on the challenge, knowing exactly what it is. And also, Jerry, can you imagine going from Vivek
to James Dolan?
He's,
I mean, he's going to feel like he's in an echo chamber. And, you know, of course, I mean, that's the thing with Coach Brown. He's been in so many different circumstances, you know. He had to deal with the expectations of the Lakers and, of course, the Cavaliers. And then he's been with a lot of, with Coach Curry, been with Coach Popovich. I think there's nobody that hadn't had better experiences. So, yeah, he'll do fine, but I'm just not sure he can do better than Coach Thibodeau did. That'd be I wish him well, but I really think Coach Tibbs got about everything out of that team.
For as rigid as Tibbs can be with the media, behind the scenes with the players, they were pretty close. He did a lot of stuff like with the podcast with them, had a lot of fun. Mike Brown's going to have to find that middle ground. And I think that's where he went wrong here. He gave too much to the players, and then when he got the extension, the challenge of integrating DeMar, he tried to pull it back, and everybody wasn't happy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, too, when expectations gets to a certain level, the Beam team, then the second year was down a little bit, and so there was already disappointment settled in. And then you add DeMar, and then people like me second guessing, like saying, why aren't you playing Keon over Kevin Huerter? When, I always said that I would have told him if he'd asked, but it's like you talk about defense and 3-point shooting, and this guy, the guy that's your best defender and your best 3-point shooter, you're not playing.
Yep. Spot on.
So that, but. No, but you can always. That's one thing about second guessing. You can second guess anybody, and it's easy to do. But I think the problem he'll have, and I really mean this, is that the Knicks players, now if he makes changes, and tries to change very much, and I doubt he will. But I mean, if it impacts how Jalen Brunson's playing or Karl Anthony Towns, those guys are pretty well set in their roles,
Yeah.
And I mean, not to say they couldn't. I think with Jalen, I mean, he's a true competitive marvel, and he could adjust to a degree. But what I thought Coach Tibbs probably got every drop of ounce out of him. I mean, he couldn't have utilized Jalen Brunson any better because you really created a major star. where some teams probably would have never allowed that to happen.
Incredible point. Incredible point. Mike Brown's also going to have an Orlando problem, I think,
Yes.
Jerry.
Yeah, I do too. That maybe even the Hawks, I think, are set to be better.
Oh.
I think now I don't know that they're a real challenger, and of course, then you never know about the Sixers could be terrific if they were healthy. There's no doubt they could be, but then again, you can't. I think their biggest threat will be Cleveland. I think the injuries that they had last year in the playoffs, certainly it was good for Indiana, but it wasn't. They weren't quite themselves, but I think they're geared up. I think to take that next step, and I think they were disappointed enough after that 64-win season that they'll feel like it's the East is theirs to take. And now it won't be easy because, like you say, Orlando's ready. What about Detroit? They're ready to take another step.
Great point.
You're seeing the Celtics fall out of it, and of course Philly, you never know. And with Milwaukee, as long as you got Giannis, you got a chance. And depends a little bit on what else they do. I think getting Miles Turner certainly, kind of keeps them in it. I mean, I think they still they could probably use probably a little more guard help, But so, yeah, the East is the East, and if the Kings were in the East, you'd feel a lot better about their chances. I know that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, you would. Juan, will Jerry be on the radio show? Well, I can't speak for the host, but I would say there's a pretty darn good chance that Jerry will hop on the radio every once in a while.
I'm kind of a limited talent, You do a little of me goes a long way, and as a kind of my life, a little of everything, just a little bit of everything works.
Yep, there you go. And don't forget, Juan, we won't have Jerry Reynolds Tuesdays like this, but when the season starts up, we will have the game day coverage as well. So we will be around. You'll be able to find us. Dennis says, Jerry, we say goodbye to Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, but your legacy with the Kings endures for 35 years. Your wit, heart, and stories as coach, GM, and broadcaster made Sacramento love this team more. Couldn't have said it any better, Jerry.
Well, very nice, very nice. And, like I say, I've been just blessed to be in this community and so many good guys, players, coaches. I just think of all the guys, people I've worked with. I mean, there's a few I would just soon not have worked with, to be honest with you, over the years. But in general, I mean, it was a marvelous experience. And when I retired, at 75, it was time. I'd been on enough planes. And I was talking to a guy the other day who talked about, how good it was in the early 2000s. Everything. I said, yeah, it was. But, for me, it was some of the toughest times because at that time I was, player personnel director for the Kings. I was running the Monarchs as a general manager, and the Monarchs were good. So that summer, and also doing the broadcast. And I always remember I was about to go nuts in Utah, I think, during the playoffs with the Kings and trying to get WNBA players signed and talking to agents. And then, I told my wife, I said, man, about 3 or 4 more years of this and I'll be in the funny farm.
Yeah, that's how you burn out right there.
Yeah, it really was. I was, when I got out of the personnel director thing, that helped a lot, and just doing TV. And then of course, it was great when I got out of the Monarchs. Of course, I loved the Monarchs, but when they left, then I was just doing TV. I was like, oh my goodness, they're paying me to do nothing,
Yeah, it's like, wait, I do this for free.
It's like, holy cow! If I didn't have to travel, I could do this forever. This is fun.
Wow, Tristan. This is from Tristan, Jerry. Ryan,
All right.
once the dust settles with the new show, treat Jerry to some chicken and dumplings for us. Just maybe don't mention it to Mrs. Reynolds. All 50 of that will be going to Jerry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you, Tristan. Don't tell Mrs. Reynolds that. Although I have to say, she likes them too. You know, she acts like, oh my goodness, this is, it's like, yeah, well, I know your plate's empty, cleaned up.
Yeah, or if she orders something else and your plate isn't cleaned up, you gonna eat that?
Yeah,
You gonna eat that?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can take that home?
Right? No, it's a good, may not be always good for you, but sometimes you just got to eat what's good, what tastes good,
Jerry, when you don't, you make it so much worse. You're just searching out for other things and you don't realize it, but those things are not as healthy as what you were eating before. You just got to mix it in once in a while.
Yeah, I know.
Balance.
I mean, I've branched out a little bit over the years, but it's a slow process because I always just kind of remember, man, I find something I like, I stick with it. Then, well, maybe I'll try. Oh, I like that too. It's like Asian food. I really like it. It's not necessarily good for diabetics, but on a occasional spot, love it. Don't like sushi. Don't like sushi, but
not a sushi guy.
I want my stuff. I want my stuff dead. You know what I'm saying?
I don't imagine them having the freshest sushi in French Lick, Indiana.
No, they don't. But last time I was there, which has been about a decade ago, really now, is they had a nice Chinese restaurant there, though. Sure did.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, miracles. They're America today, boy. Everybody's attached.
They are indeed, Jerry. I can't thank you enough for you've made countless hours for this audience, for this show, for me. It means the world to me. You've put credibility behind my name, and I've learned so much just about basketball and the laughs, and considering you just such a great friend. Thank you so much, Jerry, for everything.
Well, thank you. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I know a lot of the questions, and it's just been a blast for me. And you give your own self credibility. I'm here with it. but anyway, yeah, I'm just looking forward to what comes next with you guys, you and Grant. Obviously, I know it's going to work great, and I'll be around, and I'll be pulling for the Kings, and sometimes, and I might even be mad at them once in a while. So just like
that's okay.
Else, and that's okay. It's what it's going to be anyway. But yeah, so I'll stay in touch, and we'll see what happens in the future. And thank you so much. And Tristan, keep those questions coming. I know they're out there. I mean, that's going. These last few weeks, just knowing that I'm going to get something. I have no clue about how to answer. I mean,
I'll see if I can get Tristan. I'll get a question once in a while from Tristan to you.
Yeah.
We'll make that work.
Let's make that work.
We will do that. All right, Jared. Thank you so much again. Have a great rest of the night.
Take care.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon. See you.
All right. Wow. What a fun way to wrap up Jerry Reynolds Tuesdays. Incredible. I love that man. I absolutely, I grew up. I never in a million years did I think that my phone would ring once in a while and it'd be Jerry Reynolds just to talk basketball, check in, and coming in on the shows with us here, and the opportunity for all of you to get some more, I don't want to say intimate, but some more personal time to ask questions that you may have, and to have somebody like Jer that who you see is who he is. He gets so, and he reminds me of this so much. He gets so much out of it too with all of you. So it's just a incredible way to wrap up our last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday on the Kings Court. Tristan, huge thank you. And everybody, the nice words. Dennis, you must have blacked out. You said that beautifully. All of that will be going to Jerry and Mrs. Reynolds for a nice chicken and dumplings dinner. It's funny, Tristan, I did the same thing last year. So you did it again. Good job. But wow, fun show. A lot of good stuff there. And thanks to the new people. John, I didn't get the asparagus question in. I will get that in at some point. I definitely will. Yeah, you got to keep me away from the crack. Crack is whack. I was at Target the other night and I saw that Target is selling Krispy Kreme donuts now. Get out of here. I can't do it. I busted one time this summer where I had the hot ones sent to the house. Happened one time this summer, and I felt awful about it afterwards. You know what I did the next morning? Ate the last two. You got to keep them away. There's just something about those. So that is my chicken and dumplings. And it's the law of diminishing returns with donuts. You eat one, it's like, oh, you get it down, and it's like, that wasn't a great idea. But you know what? If I have another, I'll feel better. And then it keeps going and going. You guys know what I'm saying. So anyways, appreciate all of you, because Jerry Reynolds Tuesdays are, as I said, as much about you as it is about Jerry and I talking. Jerry and I don't come up with any type of script. We don't talk about, unless I tell him that I'm going to play a game with him. Like when we did the Immaculate Grid or the Soundbite game, I'll give him a heads up about that. But other than that, we just come on and talk, and all you make that conversation so much better. And you push us to have better conversations and to a different place where we're thinking harder, because you're pointing out very, very good things. Looking forward to Jerry in the new format. Absolutely. I'm not cutting onions, but yeah, you know what? It's a beautiful way to end. I'm not crying. I'm cutting onions. I always felt lucky where to get him. His opinion and advice must be invaluable to many. It really is. It's a reason why the media entrance is named after him at the G1C Center. Much love for Jer. Thank you, Juan. Jerry, thanks you as well. Tristan, thank you again for that. I'm going to leave you with that. Great way to wrap up Tuesday. Don't forget, Nape's coming on tonight. He's going to be here at 7 o'clock. Make sure you join him. Again, Jerry, if you're listening, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll probably get to see him next week, but a really fun way to wrap this up. Thank all of you as well. You know how I feel. We are now down to 3 shows left, at least for the Monday through Friday live show here on the King's Court. You'll get 1 live show a week once the radio show starts. And then all the game day coverage will continue as we have done the last 3 seasons. Can't believe we'll be going into season 4 of that, but very much looking forward to it. Grant back tonight. If you've been living under a rock and you're wondering about what's changing, it's Grant back in SAC beginning on September 2nd, hitting the airways again. Fox Sports Radio, KSAC. Grant is back to win. We are ready to take the drive time back here in Sacktown. 104.7, 890 AM. Do us a favor, download the Fox Sports app if you haven't already. The Fox Sports KSAC app. It's available in the App Store and also Google Play. Wonderful day, guys and gals. Wonderful day. Go Kings. Light the beam. Love y'all. Have a great evening. Join Grant tonight, 7 o'clock. Court's dismissed.
Order in the court.
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.